Maybe we can just pass this to you. Let's do a round of introduction.
Sure. So my name is Sebastian. I'm doing business development in Berlin here. We're part of a team called Location. We're building the whole navigation platform, mapping platform for Nokia. All functionality that you can see here, everything that is inside Ovi Maps on the mobile and on the web. And then I brought Joseph here with me. He will maybe want to
very
do
short nails.
Having some trouble connecting the HDMI.
Yeah. So my name is Joseph Lee. I'm a product manager for Ovi Maps. Basically, I put together the map that you see in the application itself. We work very closely with a number of data suppliers, of course, Navtech being the main one. And we work...
I got longer nails, I'll help you out.
Ah, there we go. There you go. So quite dark. Yeah, there you go. And the user interface, how you actually zoom in and zoom out on the maps. I've been working in the map industry for 10 years at different organizations around the world. What we're going to show you today is a few highlights of the application Ovi Maps. But before we do that, I would like to ask, how many of you in the room actually have used Ovi Maps at least once? Okay, that's very good. One or two hands didn't go up, but I think that's pretty good. Hopefully after this demo, it will be all of you. So, should we get started with the demo?
Let's do that. I mean, of course, people here tend to travel for work and want to know how can their business get more easier, more effective with Ovi Maps.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, when traveling, that's a very good point, because there's obviously a number of obvious use cases. For example, when we travel to an unfamiliar city, we typically take taxis quite a lot, right? It can be pretty expensive. One of the reasons for that is we don't know where things are in relation to each other. That's where the map comes in, right? You can immediately see where you are and what's around you. And
I'll be the mic stand for you right here.
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, that's perfect. Right. Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's an obvious use case. But also then, when you're taking the taxi, you're paying quite a lot, so it's very expensive. So the great thing with this is, not only can you see where you are and what's around you, but also, let's say you're going somewhere, you can very easily type in the destination using this search, right? Let's say I'm going here to this Ibis hotel here, and I can very quickly see, okay, so it's 1.2 kilometers away, very nice. Now let's see where it really is. Okay, zoom out, and there you go. See where it is in relation to my position. Once you've done that, you can also then now switch to the public transport line view, right here. You can see all the lines. You can see how many stops away it is. You might want to take public transport. Of course, it may well be.
And now we know where the after party is, right?
Well, unfortunately,
at the Ibis,
it's not going to be too exciting at the Ibis. But there we go. That's one very good use case for getting from A to B. You can very quickly see where you're going. But then once you've done that, let's say you want to walk, so you can tap here, and very simply start the navigation. And you can say walk, drive, whichever. In this case, we're going to do walk, and boom, straight away, it will work out the shortest path. And bear in mind here that thanks to our Navtech asset, we have some pretty detailed street networks in there, including little alleyways and shortcuts that even locals won't know about. So, frankly speaking, with Ovi Maps, when you're traveling, why take a taxi? You can save a lot of money by walking. Quite often the distance is a lot shorter than you might think.
I love the best function in Ovi Maps is the walk home function. So after the after party, when you've left, somewhere you don't really know where you're at, and you press the walk home and you just sort of follow it like a zombie walking through Helsinki City. You mentioned now you're saving in transport where you're spending on data. How have you thought this through?
Sorry. Yeah, I guess you might well be spending on data. That's true. I think one thing to bear in mind first of all is when you're buying a Nokia handset, you're also buying a free license to all the drive and walk navigation. So, and all this extra content that you're seeing in this application through the menu here, that's all included. Having said that, you do have a good point. A lot of this stuff is pretty data hungry, right? And one thing there I would say is, with Ovi Maps, and frankly only with Ovi Maps, you can preload all of the map data, as was said earlier in one of the previous talks, and that way you don't need to worry about the roaming charges when you're in another country, perhaps even in your own network. Maybe you don't have a very good data plan. So you can preload all that stuff completely for free, save a lot of money that way. Frankly, you can save probably enough to buy another one of these E7s. That's the great, and that's only with Ovi Maps. Bear that in mind.
Sounds like another gem to me. You there was a little, you showed a little menu with the Lonely Planet and stuff like that. Let's go through some of the software you have with the Ovi Maps. That's quite interesting. Sebastian, want to jump in?
Yeah, I think I might hand over for that, but feel free to ask afterwards.
Okay, so I mean, you've seen now the basic features of the map and the navigation, what you can do with it, but not only does Ovi Maps have a lot of really good features, it also comes with a really big load of good content. And a lot of it is also valuable if you're traveling abroad, especially if you are on a tight time or budget. So, you know, one thing, not all of us work in big companies that have their own travel departments and personal assistants, team assistants. So one thing you can do, for instance, with Ovi Maps is book a hotel. You know, missed your flight, or maybe went out partying too long or something like that. And the usual, we all know it. So what you do is, I mean, you can just basically find a hotel nearby. You can call a local line or book it online, and that basically saves you a lot of hassle, especially if you don't, you know, have the privilege of having your own assistant. One other thing that happens occasionally on business trips, even though you have a very packed schedule, is you always have some kind of time to kill, right? You're waiting at either at the airport or in the city, you know. So you just want to know what's around. You just want to find out what to do. So
watching dubbed Baywatch episodes on TV.
That would be something, right? Something more useful, of course, would be to explore a city, you know, in a very condensed way. And none of us, honestly, I mean, how many of you bought a Lonely Planet travel book, you know, to come to Berlin? Not too many, I guess, right? Because you're here for business, you don't have a lot of time. So how about if you had a very compressed version of Lonely Planet on your mobile phone with you, all of the guidebooks wherever you go? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, and it, you know, it's just there. So you just find a few places nearby, something to do. A nightclub, you know, or a restaurant or anything, and you have, you know, a trusted source of information with you. If you don't want to trust Lonely Planet or any of our other providers for that matter that we have installed on Ovi Maps, you can see a list of them right here. You know, you might want to check out what the locals say. So we have also a lot of locally relevant content services. In this case, Quiet, which is, you know, a little startup from Hamburg. You can get the latest reviews. You can see what actual local people are writing about it. About places to eat or drink, and you can, you know, you can really get some more information on that. Yeah, and that way, you know, you basically can feel like a local. You get all the benefits, all the information in a very compressed format, and you can all have it with you all the time. One last thing I want to mention is that all of this, of course, is available for you to pre-plan. So, you know, a week before you fly, you know, either you or your assistant, if you happen to have one, you can just look it up on maps.ovi.com. You can find all the stopovers of your business trip, and frankly, that takes away a lot of, you know, nervosity, a lot of yeah, problems you have during a trip. So, you know, you save the airport, save the hotel, save the business venue, and save the nightclub and the restaurant, and you're all set. You know, you always you have peace of mind. You know where to go. Just pull out your maps and everything offline, as Joe was mentioning. And that's pretty much why I like Ovi Maps when I'm traveling.
Sounds perfect. You got more to add, Joe?
No. I think it's pretty simple. I think we're all here available over some drinks. So if you've got any questions, very happy to answer.
Maybe show them the offline.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't show. I don't know how many of you actually know how to switch it to
Grab
the
the mic.
offline. Right? Oh yeah, very good. So for those of you who don't know how to switch Ovi Maps to offline mode, it's really simple. You just go out to the menu here, tap on Tools, go to the Internet setting, and boom, you're offline. The great thing is that then you can just go back to the menu. With one hand, it's easier. There we go. And you go back to, okay, go online to use the service. No. Go to my position. Okay, this is not working with one hand. There we go. And everything still works perfectly fine. Just to show you again, I can switch the public transport lines on and off. I can even switch to night mode. Boom. Great thing there is that we store everything locally and we render everything locally. And that's really what makes us different compared with some of the other applications out there.
So you don't have to switch the phone offline, right?
You don't have to switch the phone offline.
Just
you can still receive phone calls. It's a very good point. And the phone can remain online. A few other big advantages that you can do. You can rotate the map. I don't know how many of you have tried doing that with some of the other applications out there. Most probably you'll find it doesn't work. So, once again, any questions we can handle later on. I think we've got plenty more to talk about. So.
Yes, thank you, Joseph. Thanks, Sebastian.
Sure.
Thank you very much, guys.